Okay, speaking of famous, let's head down to court 9 now because Todd Woodbridge is standing by with Jim Courier for a masterclass. And, well, who better to do it than a couple of masters of the game?
Well, thank you, TJ. Today we're going to be talking forehands, and I thought, who's got a great forehand that can talk about a weapon? And of course, it's a two-time former champion, our very own Jim Courier, and a world #1. Now, Jim, when you were winning the tournament here, the forehand was your biggest weapon. I want to talk about where the forehand was in our era and to where it has gone in this new era.
A long way, Todd. Take us through it.
Well, you take us through your stroke. We're going to have a look at you, a little bit of vision here of you playing here at the Australian Open, and what went through your mind and your technique when you're hitting your forehand.
So I would try and hit as few backhands as possible. So you see me in the backhand corner trying to take a very offensive position. I have a very Western grip, get around it. My elbow is inside and I drive through the ball. So even though I have a grip that's built for extreme topspin, I actually tried to flatten the ball out. That's how I did damage in those days, was trying to get the ball fast through the court. And I hit it pretty hard for that time in that equipment. And the equipment is the key because the strings that I used were old school nylon. It wasn't even gut. They didn't give you much spin. And then the new string came in and that changed everything.
So the key to that is that from this camera angle is that when you made contact, you followed through out down the court before finishing over your shoulder, right?
That's right.
So let's go to where the modern forehand evolved to. We're going to take a look at Rafael Nadal. And of course, he's famous for the equipment that you talk about the string, and if you use this string, you have to finish your follow-through differently.
Yeah, well, he also is with a very powerful racket, and if he were to drive the ball straight through it, he might not be able to control it. He needs to put topspin on the ball to get the ball to drop down. How does he do that? He's got to get up and off of the ball in a hurry, and that's why the racket goes up and over his head in a lasso motion more often than when he goes across his body, which is the more traditional one that we grew up playing with.
Okay, so let's move on to the finalists here because the forehand's going to be a key shot in the men's final tomorrow evening. Now, we've got a young player in Jannik who has watched Rafael Nadal as he's grown up and played, and his forehand has evolved around that. Talk us through the racket head speed that he has.
So his racket is not quite as powerful as Nadal's. It's got a little bit more feel to it, but he gets plenty of pop on it. Look at the wrist lag. If you want to create speed on a forehand, you don't hold the racket this way. You've got to let your wrist come behind the ball and slap through it. Jannik does that amazingly well. He's got huge lag on his wrist. It's like a golf swing. You need the lag to pop through it, and boy, does he get the pop.
Certainly does, and that is a key to him beating the world #1 Novak Djokovic yesterday. So his opponent in the final is going to be Daniil Medvedev. Now, he's a throwback of sorts, isn't he? Because he is a flat hitter. But we're going to take a look at a couple of the pictures, and he seems to have actually put both of what you were talking about your forehand, and he finishes with a bit of the lasso effect.
Well, he's very, if he wants to put topspin on it, he goes with the lasso. If he wants to drive the ball, he comes across his body. So you don't know that as his opponent until it's coming at you, but when you see this, that one's a flat one. If he finishes around his neck, it's going flat. But if he needs topspin, he gets up and off of it in a hurry. So he's able to manipulate the ball with a little more variety than a lot of forehands these days.
Well, there you have it from the great man himself, one of the best forehands that the game has ever seen, the evolution into what is going to be happening in our final here tomorrow night. And TJ, I'm just going to try to get a bit more lasso effect into mine because I was a flat hitter like this, and here we go, like look at that, Jim. Hey, what do you think?
I think your backhand's really good. Back to you, TJ.